Okay, so in this lesson, first of all, we're going to create again a color adjustment. So basically meaning we're going to create a unique color grade just for this certain image. Alright, so let's also start right away just with a bit of pop. I want to give this a bit more brightness and also just let the highlights pop a little bit more, but also give my dark areas here, for instance down here and on the jacket, a bit more contrast. So I'm going to go to adjustments and also select here a curves levels adjustment layer. And also this time I'm just going to take the highlight area over here and just push those up a little bit like so, and I'm not concentrating too much on the rest now. I'm literally just first of all taking the curves here down again and putting an anchor point here as well so it's kind of straight as well, and then we can just tweak this top point here again and just work with that. Obviously you guys can see that the saturation goes up quite a lot, but I really love the contrast on it now and also the bit of highlights that we're actually getting. Okay, again, here's our before and after, before and after. So it's a little bit too bright. I can still take the opacity of this maybe down just to like 80% so that we don't need to tweak again our curve layer here, or our curves, so we can just literally do that via the layer, but still keep this really nice contrasty and boosting touch. Okay, so that's literally the first step already. Now I also want to go to adjustments again and go into the selective color adjustment layer and also just start in my neutral tone. So I normally start with the neutral tones, play a bit with the cyan, then also magenta quite a lot, here and there with yellow and black. And mostly I use the blacks to push up and to flatten the blacks a little bit. Then I go into the black channels over here and darken the blacks a little bit, just to give them again another pop. Okay, so I'm literally going to do that as well now. So I'm going to take this to just -1 or 2. And as well, I'm also going to work a little bit with yellow. Let's push that again. And as we did earlier as well, like we did in Camera Raw, I normally take the sliders all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and then I play a little bit with this and try to get a little bit of a unique feel for this. As well, this is also a lot of personal taste, so you have to kind of play with this a little bit until you know it's the right thing that you want to get, and yeah, see what suits you. I'm going to go to like a -2 actually, just desaturate that a little bit. I'm going to also take the magentas down a little bit. Let's see, like a -2. That's not getting too much green, like maybe just a -1. And also the cyan, let's again work those a little bit to the right side, a little bit cooler, plus -3 actually. Minus is increasing the red quite a lot, so we can also still work with that. I'm going to actually go to +3. And also now going to go to the black channels again. So again, blacks over here. And as well the cyans to, let's have a look. If we take the cyans, are obviously also just affecting our black, so we can get away with just pushing them up a little bit. As you guys can also see left and right again what I'm actually getting, what effect. So again like a +3. That would be good. Okay, let's also work a little bit with our magentas. Let's also check the magentas a little bit. I'm going to push those down a little bit. See how strong. I don't want to make it too green. As you guys can see, we're getting lots of green there. Maybe just a -1. This is obviously a lot of personal feeling as well. Also have a look if your screen is calibrated so you get really a unique taste and yeah, the right colors. Okay, I'm also going to take the yellows a little bit up. Okay, that's just making it a lot more greenish. Like maybe just a -2, which will give me actually a really nice -3. It's actually also fine. Again, looking at before and after, before and after. And as well the blacks, I'm going to push them up just like a +1. Okay, so we just actually got away from a lot of orange that we had. Let's take again to the neutral tones here. I'm going to push the yellows up a little bit again. Yep, not actually going to affect those. Let's take the cyan up a little bit again, like just a -2 or so. Okay, so again before and after, before and after. Now as well, what I'm also going to do is also create a complete new empty layer just with a orange tone in there. So I'm going to go down here to the adjustment layers again and just select a solid color. Again, the color picker will come up. I'm just going to choose like a deep orange or something. Let's just take a random color for now. We can also go a little bit more into the red zone, somewhere over here. Okay, I'm going to hit OK and switch this first of all the way to a new blending option to color. Okay, so it's completely yellow now, or orange. What I'm going to do is also take the opacity all the way down to just like 3 or 4%, maybe even a little bit further. So again, before and after, just giving the overall image like a yellow orangey tint. It's a little bit too strong, so I'm going to take it to 5%. And also double tap again onto the color here and literally going to pick a bit more of an orangey color. And these colors here are not too, select this. Okay, so it's a bit more into the red zones, a bit more orange. Okay, then instead of yellow, and that looks a bit better actually for me. So again, before and after, before and after. Just adds for another extra orange tint to the whole image. Okay, so lastly what I still want to add is now also a whole flare boost on top of the image, as we said earlier here from the help layer. If I'm just going to blend this on again. So we mentioned that we still want to do a little bit of a flare glare here on top. So that's also very simple to do actually. You can just go back again to the adjustment layers down here and select a gradient adjustment layer. And first of all, the gradient adjustment layer will pop up here, this little window. And under gradients, if you select the gradients, you first have to select a certain gradient. Now in here, I've already created the gradient, and it's this one over here. So let me just move this a little bit to the side so you guys can actually see what's going on. So something like that. So normally my settings start all the way from the left side, from dark going to a richer red orange, then to a light orange and a yellow and a pure white. So as you guys can also see how it's degrading here from white, yellow, orange, red and dark. So what we're going to do is just take the whole style and angle actually to a new angle. Let me just say OK over here, and we're going to switch this to radial. This basically means that we actually have now a circular motion. So then again, I can also select reverse, which will inverse the whole process, meaning that we can use this now on a new blending option, and we can actually hide the darks and show the light areas. So again, let me just hit OK over here, and if we switch this now to screen, you will see that everything is dark will disappear and everything that is light will still show up. So we've kind of created a really quickly flare in Photoshop. Again, I'm going to move this over a little bit, but I can't literally move this at the moment because it's an adjustment layer. I first have to convert this to a smart object. So I'm going to hit right click here and just say convert to smart object, and now I'm able to also move this around. Okay, so as you guys can see, now I've got the smart object, and I can now literally just move the center point up a little bit, and we've got a really nice glare here going all the way through the whole image. I'm going to move it over here as well. And also going to just take the opacity down a little bit so it's not that strong. Maybe, yes, just around 50% or 60%. Again, before and after, before and after. And I don't want to make it too strong here at the bottom. Over here it's nice, but I don't want to let that affect too much this side, because obviously it will be a little bit further. So again, so just a normal mask. I'm going to press B for the brush, switch with foreground color to black. And I'm just going to use like a 60% black foreground color, and I'm literally going to just darken this area a little bit down here so it spills a little bit better. Okay, something like that. Again, switch with foreground colors, paint this a little bit better back, something like that. Yeah, and that's also all that I'm actually going to do ready for just this layer. Great. Okay, so that's also going to take all of these 4 layers now. For the color adjustment, press Command G again, and we're going to write here first of all color grading. Okay, so we know that's all for our first color grading. Then as well, next step that I'm going to do is also take all of this now into Nik software. So again, going up to the filter here, and we can't literally take it into Nik software because we don't have a base plate again. So what I'm going to do is again press Command Alt Shift and E, master shortcut again, so merge everything to one final layer. Now we can go to filter, and we can go hit here Nik software Color FX Pro 4 and take this layer again into a new plugin. Okay, so the plugin has loaded, and again I'm not going to explain too much about this plugin. Let's also make it just a little bit bigger. On the left side again you have all your presets for the plugin, and on the right hand side all the adjustments. So normally what I want to do is just give this image another nice pop in color. So I'm going to select an ink over here, and also directly going to set the color set to the first one, and normally I take it down to just like a 20%, 25%. This adds just a really nice pop to my images. Now as well, shadows, let's play a little bit with that. I'm not going to take it too much, maybe just around 8 to 9%. And highlights as well, I want to keep this actually boosting, as you guys can see at the moment. Okay, but the strength is still a little bit too hard, so maybe 15%, but I'm going to leave it a little bit harder here because I'm going to take the opacity layer, or basically just the opacity from the layer down in Photoshop. So I'm going to hit OK, That will be exported again into Photoshop. And now we also have this on a separate layer. So we can also delete again our first layer that we've created with the master shortcut again. We literally just needed it so we can get back into the plugin, obviously. So again, layer 1 here, which is our base layer, or basically our merge layers with all. I'm going to delete that, take the ink layer again, and just take the opacity all the way down. Yeah, to just maybe like 40%. Before and after, and you guys can already see how that gives the whole image again another pop. So I'm going to take it down a little bit further, maybe just to 30%, try that, before and after, and that looks all great. One last step that I still want to do is just desaturate his face a little bit. All of that increased the saturation so much, so I'm going to go back to adjustments, and this time to hue and saturation again, select that, and as well I'm going to go into the red tones here. Again, obviously you can work with all these tones. I'm just going to work with the red tones and just taking the red tones all the way down. Not too much, as you guys can already see how that desaturates his reds. Again, it will obviously desaturate also the sky here. So I just want to desaturate that about -10 or so, -8. Okay, I have a look here before and after. And now what I want to do is invert this whole mask. So Command I. Again, Windows users, please use Control I. B for the brush, white foreground color, 100% opacity. And I'm literally just with a soft brush going to brush just on the skin here. Okay, just desaturating all this reds a little bit. Okay, so again, before and after, before and after. And now I'm also going to create a new group again. Select both with Shift, Command G again. And I'm just going to write here flare as well, so you guys know that's all about the flare. Okay, great. So that's all for our color adjustments. Again, let's have a look before and after, before and after. Obviously, you also have to do this a little bit stronger and a little bit slower. I did this really quickly as well with the gradient as well. Don't forget, you also have to create a complete new gradient. Here, I'm just going to go quickly to the gradient tool again. Double tap on that. I'm going to open the gradient color again so I can just show you guys quickly again simply how to create a gradient. You can also look that up under our free tutorials. Select the gradient over here and you can just hit new, or basically just select one. Then you create the gradient throughout these little dots here. Double tap on that. You select the color. Then again a new one. Say for instance this is going to be black. Okay. Then as well down here, double tap on that. Then you choose exactly the same colors as I have, a rich orange. And you kind of create these little dots here, hit new, and you've also created a new gradient. And then again you use the gradient under the new adjustment layer here. Okay, yeah. So that's also all for this lesson. We're going to see you now in the next lesson. We're going to start with the first adjustments for the phone.